Monster is a dark show, broken characters attempting to break other characters. But honestly, the character that affected me the most was a character that the story couldn't break because he was already broken. You'd think he'd replicate the actions of others in the story, tearing each other down, destroying each other mentally and physically, yet he is still kind. He smiles big and wide, and that smile persists. Even when he's beaten, even when he's insulted, even when he opens up about his unimaginable pain, he shows those big white dents. That smile is his shield, the only armor he has left after years of emotional numbness from the 511 Kinderheim experiments. These experiments were designed to erase emotions from children to create perfect beings. He tries to make it seem like he can't feel emotions because for so long no one ever gave him permission to express them, but throughout the story we realize that the truth is he feels them stronger than anyone in his own way. We see this manifest with one of the coolest things about Grimmer's character, of course, the magnificent Steiner. I feel like it's a canon event for every 15-year-old boy to know for a fact in their heads that when they get mad, when they see red man, the bodies hit the floor, man. They believe they can take anyone basically, and I'm not ashamed to admit I still have those imaginations to this day. I genuinely believe when I'm in my 80s I'll still be imagining scenarios where young fellas slap my wife's ass so I need to bait them all, 6 of them at once, and I pull a cigar out of my pocket, smoke it, take my wife's arm and walk away, leaving the bodies in my wake. What's cool about anime generally is getting to live vicariously through these characters that actually can power up through getting mad and stand up to the impossible challenges that stand in their way, the same way we wish we could in real life. What's interesting about the Magnificent Steiner is that it's not framed as a power-up, it's more of a breakdown. The name the Magnificent Steiner comes from a cartoon that Grimmer loved as a child about a superhero who would appear whenever someone was bullied or beaten, a protector that saved the weak and punished the cruel. That show was the one bright and innocent memory Grimmer had before his emotions were stripped away by trauma, and when he's pushed to his emotional limit as an adult, that memory returns, but twisted. The Magnificent Steiner becomes a manifestation of every repressed emotion Grimmer was never allowed to express. The fury, grief and heartbreak that no one ever let him feel exploding into something terrifying. The show never glorifies this. The Steiner form isn't heroic, it's tragic, because being a man isn't about never losing control, it's about understanding what happens when you do. We first see the Magnificent Steiner taking out 3 police officers who were torturing Grimmer. When children aren't protected, they often grow up to be their own protectors, even if it means becoming monsters to do so. Grimmer becomes a monster to protect himself here. The next 2 times we see the Magnificent Steiner in the show is in the protection of others, even until it finally costs him his life. I saw in real time how Grimmer learned you can be both gentle and powerful. The key is knowing when to be each. He doesn't use his strength to dominate, he uses it to protect, to stop cruelty, to make sure no one else has to suffer like he did. He sacrifices control to be as compassionate as possible. When he's not being controlled by his childhood trauma, he is constantly helping others with theirs. Throughout the show, we see him listening and comforting others, noticing people's pain before they even speak about it. He seems to find the emotions of others fascinating, using them to form connections in an effort to help. Like in one of the best moments of the show where he talks Milos out of suicide and he cries without even knowing he's crying. What makes Grimmer's story so powerful is that it's not about revenge, it's about recovery. He's not chasing blood, he's chasing peace. He investigates Kinderheim not to punish those responsible, but to understand what happened to him, to make sense of why he can't feel the way other people do. His story isn't about destruction, it's about reconstruction of memory, empathy and identity. Grimmer's ultimate goal isn't vengeance or justice, it's wholeness. He meets people connected to Kinderheim, some complicit, some just victims of circumstance, and he never lashes out in cruelty. Even when he has every moral justification to hate, he doesn't. He can see that the people who hurt him were also shaped by systems of cruelty and war and hateful ideologies. He refuses to become a mirror of that cruelty. He breaks the chain, not by overpowering his enemies, but by refusing to let hate define him. That's why he's so different from someone like Johan, who also experienced trauma but turned it outward into destruction. Grimmer turned it inward, transforming it into empathy. He wants to know why people commit cruelty, what makes humans destroy each other, what makes a place like Kinderheim possible. That desire isn't naive, it's incredibly mature. It shows that Grimmer's empathy extends even towards those who ruined him. He knows that understanding doesn't excuse evil, but is the only way to prevent it from repeating. That's what makes him one of the most emotionally intelligent and inspirational characters in Monster. He doesn't want revenge for his pain, he wants to make sure that that pain means something. That's wisdom born from suffering. Grimmer's death is so sad, man, one of the saddest deaths in anime, and his speech is so beautiful and painful, saying that his emotions weren't gone, just lost, and it's like he's finally received them in a letter sent to to him years ago, as he finally gets to mourn the loss of his son before passing himself. Even when he's dying, his final moments aren't angry, they're grateful, teaching me that being a man isn't about how much pain you can take, it's about whether you let the pain you will inevitably face in your life destroy you, or whether you use it to make you kinder so that others won't have to feel it. The man who never felt human until the very end was far more man than most. Wolfgang Grimmer taught me that real masculinity isn't coldness or dominance, it's balance. It's the courage to smile through the pain, but also the courage to cry when the moment finally arrives. It's the strength to protect others without ever losing your empathy in the process. It's the wisdom to know that emotions don't make you weak, they make you human. Even after everything he went through, Grimmer's smile wasn't fake, it was defiance, a quiet resilience, a way of saying, you didn't destroy me, I've seen hell, and I still choose to be kind. And that's a lesson I'll never forget, because being a man doesn't mean never breaking, it means breaking, healing, and still having enough heart left to care. Sometimes the strongest thing a man can do is to survive long enough to feel again, to keep going when all is lost, when all is bleak, in the hopes that you'll have one more happy day somewhere in your future. Wolfgang Grimmer isn't a hero in the traditional sense, he's what comes after the hero's journey, when the fighting is done and you're left with the question of who you are now. He answered it with kindness.